Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Oh na 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 na. Big it up. Oh na 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 na. Big it up. Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Bir bam bam bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam. Bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam bir bam bam bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam. Bir bam bir bam 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 bam. Bir bam bir de.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to Home and Away Jamaica, where we connect Jamaica and the diaspora. Today we have Ms. Felicia Wilshire, Senior Director, Land Administration and Management Division of the National Land Agency. Good day, Felicia. How are you?
Good day, Robert. Thanks for having me.
Felicia, it's very good to have you, and it's very good for the second time to have the National Land Agency on our program. The last program, we discussed unregistered land, the process of bringing unregistered land to first registration. What we understand is approximately 78% of land in Jamaica is privately held, and perhaps less than 50% of that is unregistered. We know that there are economic consequences to having unregistered land, both for landowners who can't monetize or unlock the value or wealth in land, as well as the government in relation to organizing its finances as it relates to property taxes. So there is an economic regime and program we understand for accelerating land registration in Jamaica. And LAMP, which you're going to talk about, Land Administration and Management Program, has purview and oversight of that. So we want to ask you today, particularly for not just our listeners and viewers outside of Jamaica, but our viewers in Jamaica who are affected by this legacy of unregistered land. Give us an overview of LAMP and how persons can go about benefiting from the services that you offer.
Okay, so LAMP existed from 2000, but in 2018, the Land Administration and Management Program was integrated into the National Land Agency, and two new divisions were formed, the Land Administration and Management Division and the Adjudication Services Division. So I'm the Senior Director of the Land Administration and Management Division. So LAMD deals with what we call ad hoc or voluntary land registration. So essentially, people have to be interested in getting lands registered, in getting security of tenure. So you spoke about the fact that there's an economic aspect to it. So unregistered land, what really obtains is that you have dead capital when you can't prove ownership of this land. So LAMD will assist owners in key areas to get registered title. So LAMD operates in the parishes of St. Catherine, Portland, St. Thomas, and St. Mary, and in key areas that have been declared in Kingston and St. Andrew. So areas like Tel Aviv, Joppa and St. Andrew, Hope Estates, LAMD has jurisdiction for those parishes. And also, if there's an attorney at law involved, matters in all the parishes can be brought to the Land Administration and Management Division. So the legislation basically gives the LAMD powers to separate titling from planning. So essentially, when you spoke about accelerating land registration, right now, if you are applying to get a registered title and it's a part of a larger parcel, you have to get subdivision approval from the municipal corporation. If you go under this, what I will loosely call the SPA, the Registration of Titles, Cadastral Mapping, and Tenure Clarification SPA Act, you will enjoy some waivers from the Local Improvement Act and also waivers for some statutory duties, and that accelerates the pace at which titles can be issued. So to get a title by first registration, you have to have a survey diagram or a diagram by meets and bounds. And as I said before, if it's a part of a larger parcel, ordinarily you would have had to go to the municipal corporation. If you come to LAMD, you can get what is called a subdivision waiver once it can be proved that the informal subdivision on the ground existed for at least 7 years. So that aids considerably, because when you have to apply for subdivision approval, it sometimes takes years, and some of the conditions to be satisfied are onerous. So certainly it cuts down the turnaround time for titling. With regards to some recent amendments to the Special Provisions Act, previously, one of the requirements would have been an up-to-date certificate of payment of taxes. With the amendments, the certificate of taxes will be submitted at the provisional stage. So once you know that your matter has gone to the referee of titles and you're adjudged the owner of the property, it's at that stage you will pay the taxes if it was sent to the referee of titles. However, if the matter has been referred to adjudication and you get an adjudication certificate, so essentially when you're making an application for first registration, the LAMD can refer your application to the adjudication secretariat, and adjudication committees are convened island-wide, and the matter can be heard, witnesses can be called, persons can be interrogated, and if the person is adjudged the owner of the property having satisfied the 12 years requirement under the Act, 12 years possession, sole undisturbed possession, an adjudication certificate is issued. And if you're in receipt of an adjudication certificate, the property taxes are paid at the back end, or an instruction can be given to the registrar of titles to lodge a caveat. So it doesn't mean that you never pay the property taxes. It just means that it will not prevent the issue of the certificate of payment, certificate of title. And that has helped a lot, because the property taxes have proven prohibitive for persons to apply for titling. So the fact that you can pay the property taxes at the back end, or you can get that title and a caveat, a registrar's caveat is lodged, you'll have your title, and when you're ready to deal with your title, then you can pay the property tax. So those are some of the benefits. The government also, Cabinet approved a 100 million grant to aid persons in getting a title in their name by first registration. So you can get an unconditional grant of $20,000. So once that is applied, you don't have to pay it back, or a conditional grant of $50,000, and that will help to defray the cost of the registration fees and the cost associated with getting the registered titles.
Thank you, Felicia. Now, one of the things some of our viewers may be wondering is a time frame, because certainly
Yes.
those with experiences in the past, maybe prior to 2018,
Yes.
will probably share that bringing land to first registration can be a very arduous process.
Yes.
Explain to us how the stages and how long this actually may take.
Right. So previously, before the amendments, the application would have had to be submitted to the referee of titles. And if it is provisionally approved, the referee of titles would give instructions for advertisement. And based on the legislation, the notice period, the period of time for which objections can be made, could be as short as 6 weeks or as long as 1 year. And then it has to be advertised. And then what I just spoke to you about was a caveat period. And thereafter, it would be 6 weeks for the issue of titles. That period has been considerably reduced if the matter has been referred to adjudication, because once that adjudication certificate has been issued, the matter is lodged directly to the registrar of titles. So that means it doesn't have to be advertised. It doesn't have a caveat period. So what you're looking at is roughly the 56 days, a 6 weeks period, where previously it would have been the 56 days plus the caveat period, which I said could range from 6 weeks to 1 year, and that initial period of lodgement to the titles office. So there has been, so you really want to, for the most part, refer matters to the adjudication committees once there's an issue with root of title.
Okay, and to be clear, persons or land matters that are a part of, let's say, a probate process
Yes.
would still have the facilitation of this program.
Yes, so at the LAMD, there's a regularization component which deals with first registration and applications by adverse possession or re-registration. And then there's a clarification aspect. So that is where title exists already. So we assist persons with straight transfers. Remember, I said under the SP, you can enjoy a waiver from the statutory duties once it's a transfer, not for value. So not where there's a sale. So if you're adding a name, if you're giving lands, by gift, how family members are, just gift property, you can. So there's an existing title. The LAMD will deal with that. We will deal with applications for probate or letters of administration. So we have the clarification aspect, and certainly with the regularization aspect, that is where you're applying for a title by first registration. In given the 30-year history of the land, if somebody has died, then you may have to get a grant of representation, and we also assist in that regard. So we prepare those documents.
And I think too, an important clarification, perhaps maybe point of emphasis. You mentioned earlier that there are certain parishes that the program and certain communities within the corporate area for which the program facilitates.
Yes.
But those parishes that are not on your immediate, under your immediate attention, if a person is represented by an attorney, you'll also hear and adjudicate on those applications.
Yes, so the main parishes will be St. Catherine, Portland, St. Mary, and St. Thomas, and key areas that have been declared in the corporate area. So we have Tel Aviv, we have Rosetown, and I should add St. Catherine, it does not include Portmore. So Portmore is excluded, so it's St. Catherine and a small area in Portmore, Nago Head. So that's the only area that is declared in Portmore. St. Mary, St. Thomas. We have rural St. Andrew parishes, so you have Joppa, Golden Spring, Temple Hall 1 and 2, Hope Estates, and Tel Aviv. So that would basically be in the corporate area. But all the areas and practically the entire island has been declared. It's really just some areas in the corporate area that has not been declared. Once there's an attorney, the attorney can bring those matters to the Land Administration and Management Division.
Thanks. And before we close, Felicio, for our viewers, are there any particular issues that you see in applications that slow or impede the process that you can perhaps suggest persons pay more attention to reduce the application time?
Well, definitely. And I want to, when the project was integrated into the agency, we actually did an audit of some inactive files in St. Catherine. And what we found, we had absentee owners. So a lot of the owners resided overseas. So I want to appeal to those owners to get in touch with the Land Administration and Management Division. We have been sending letters out because we really don't want to close the files. We want to reactivate the files. For the most part, when we looked on the files, it could have been an expired survey plan that now needs a surveyor's statutory declaration because it's over 7 years. Or persons want to add names. So the consent of nominee form was dispatched and not returned. And that is important because a lot of our applicants have relatives that live overseas and they want to accommodate their relatives. So we dispatch the form to be completed, and it takes some time in getting back to us. And of course, with the pandemic, that has been compounded because we know places have been locked. So, and that has delayed the completion of some matters. So we would really want members of the diaspora to get in touch with us. You had opened a file decades ago, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. We still have the matters and we want to breathe life into the matter. So if you can get in touch with us. But for the most part, it would be the consent of nominee forms need to be returned. and the and basically the addresses. Sometimes the address that we have, it's no longer the address, so we can't get in touch with persons. So if you have open files from when it was LAMP, from when it was at Ministry of Agriculture, from when it was on Halfway Tree Road, get in touch with us. And I can give you the contact information, but I should add here. So our system is voluntary in that we can't force you to register the land, but we also go out in the community. So we have field visits monthly, the last month of every month. So in Portland, it's at the RADA office, Foley, Port Antonio. So in St. Thomas, it's at the RADA office, Belfast, and it's the last Tuesday of the month. For Portland, it's the last Monday of the month. For St. Catherine, it's the last Wednesday of the month at Linstead Baptist Church. And in St. Mary, it's every last Thursday of the month at Emmanuel Baptist Church, Fort Maria.
Is this posted on your website?
Yes, it's posted on the website, and we also have some contact information that would also be on the website. So what I'd really entreat the diaspora is to get in touch with us, because we have the files and they're of some antiquity, and we want to, especially in light of the amendments, we have reduced registration fees now. We have funding to assist persons to complete these matters, so we can really help these persons. So we want them to get in touch with us.
Well, thank you again, Felicia. We want to really extend our appreciation to the National Land Agency for its outreach. Very customer-centric. As an attorney, yes. I find dealing with the National Land Agency very pleasant. You're all problem solvers. If there are issues, persons spend the time to find a resolution. So want to thank you again for your
You're most welcome
service to the community. And until next time, it's Robert Taylor, your host, Home and Away Jamaica. And thanks again.
Thank you, Robert.
TV, bam bam, on the street, bam bam.